Hey everybody, thanks for taking the time to hop on to our webinar on demand here. Know that you all have different schedules and things, so rather than try to force you into whatever our timetable was for a webinar for you to join into, instead you can just hop on here whenever it's convenient for you. And hopefully you'll take the time to just kind of listen through this. We'll try to make it as quick as possible, but really wanted to make you aware of some pretty exciting new tools that we're rolling out here. And just pointing out here that we're shifting to, this is version 5.0. We've been version 4.0 and following for quite some time, adding different iterations and improvements along the way. But these latest shifts are significant enough that we felt we were really moving into version 5.0. Just a quick reminder as I get into sharing some of these things, remember that up here in the help menu, you can go to our online learning center, and from there you can find more information and also be able to get into our chat service right from that location now. That wasn't there previously, but you can do that there and get in contact with us, ask us questions, and remember, just if you have a subscription with us, then the support is already included, so there's no extra charge for any of those services. And so also just wanted to, again, knowing that some of you may be coming from a little bit further back in history as far as the version you might be coming from, point out a couple other things along the way. One is if you come to the file and new, you have this start project window. If you haven't seen it before, pretty cool way to get your projects started. Folders and things get created for you automatically, organized nicely. So great way to move that ahead. And then the same thing here with, if you need more information, there's the watch how video that you can jump into as well. So take advantage of that if you're not familiar with that yet. I'm going to go ahead and open a project that I already got going here. And so pull this up. So the big deal, the big change that we'll be talking about today relates to material lists. And that's going to be found over here on the project tab. And that's here. And you can see that it's going to allow us to have a view into the materials or other things that you may be calling for your job before you actually get to the report level. And we'll get into some of the specifics in a moment, but just to take a step back to ask the question is like, well, why are we doing this? Why are we bringing this out? And there's two reasons for that. One is that it will allow you to organize your material better. You can see how you can do that with packs and with ordering the positions of those packs and so on. So a better way to organize your material and also be able to call materials even without drawing them. So there's that. But secondly, and probably even more significant to some of you who are listening now, is that in addition to having this material list, now within the context of this material list, in the next version that we're planning on coming out, you'll have the ability to call one item and then get multiple other items as a result. So simple example, and maybe in the roofing industry, if I was calling the square footage of my shingles and I wanted to have automatically come with that all of my underlayment, I could set up what we call a kit that would allow you to do that. So I don't have to draw the underlayment or take it off twice or whatever. Instead, I can just drive other items to come with it. So wherever there's a mathematical ratio or connection between those items, you'd be able to drive that, making your takeoffs more accurate and more efficient. So that's one of the reasons, one of the big reasons why we're introducing this material list, is then to be able to shift further onto some of those capabilities. Jumping back over here to the plan tab, just for a moment, quick reminder of a couple of, not really a reminder, actually just pointing out some things that have changed. We have moved the scale tool, or we've put this ability to set an auto scale for a page right out here. So if I come down here like to this roof page, this is a 1/4 inch per foot. So I can actually come right here now and say, I want this to be a 1/4 inch per foot. So really easy to find, it gets applied there. You can of course come now and use the dimension tool to verify that. If you're needed to manually scale this page, we've changed that ruler icon to this set custom scale button right here. And if you click on that, you can then go and click and drag and draw those scale lines in order to get there. So that capability is where you'll find that. And moving then on to, or quick reminder for those of you who may be coming from, again, from versions a little bit further back. One is the ability to use presets. You can see here right now I have my area tool up here, and if I wanted to right click, since I have this little arrow icon here, I'm going to right click and I can choose this preset that I've created, which is edge only. And when I go to draw that, you can see that I'm going to get just my edge. This is a preset I created. Anybody can create whatever presets you like. So this area, didn't have the area actually in it. I could choose to add it back if I want, but you're able to configure a tool set any way you like it, save it as a preset so that as you do future jobs, you just have an easy jumping off place to go from. You can manage those things over in the database tab. There's a presets tab here where you can do that. And then one final thing we'll point out is in the applications tab. Generic applications, they always tended to, in the past, come in as, pink items that you drew and didn't really have much control over that. But now you can actually come here to those just generic applications of eaches, lengths, areas, volumes, and you can click edit, and on the color, set it to a particular color type, control some of the labeling capabilities, auto colors, and so on. So you can avail yourselves of those improvements as well if you're coming from a little bit further back on version numbers. So then jumping over then to this material list concept. So everything is pretty much the same. And as when I say that, one of our goals as we were stepping forward into some of these new features was we wanted all of you who were existing users of PROtrade to be able to walk into this new version. And we know that, hopefully that our desire is that these features that we're rolling out will be very useful to you, and you'll investigate how they would help you be more efficient and get more to what you want out of the tool. But knowing that some of you will just be easier just to use the tool as you always have been. And so if that's the case for you, you should be getting the same behavior as you had before. So if I come up here and I use my segment tool, for example, and I am tracing some of the low side of my roof, maybe where some of my ice and water shield is going to go, it's going to be the same type of stuff. And for the sake of time here, I'm not going to draw all this in, but just collecting this lineal footage. So here it is. In my take up items list, I've got my length there. Similar idea if I was going to capture some of the area of the roof. Again, same behavior that we've always had, and that's available to you there. So, and you can see in the takeoff items list, I've got those in there. And again, same stuff, I can come to application. So for this area, if I wanted this to say be underlayment or roofing, either one, I could pick that. I could come and pick a product for it. I could, since this is my roofing, I'll just pick out some shingles. And then here in the length, I'll just set this to be some ice and water shield. And then I'll pick out that product that I have in here for that. Okay, and so now we've got those in here. And then of course, we could change colors here and make them however we want these to appear. So all of this should be very familiar, all the stuff that you would expect to find. But you can see over here in our takeoff items list, one of the things that is different is we now have this pack column, and it currently is set to unassigned. As you draw new things into your digitizer on different pages, they're just automatically going to drop into the quote unassigned pack. If we hit Control P in our report now, you're going to get the same behavior that you always have. Things will be organized by the pages in the list, and get the different outputs that you would expect. But now with those things in mind, though, let's come over here to the project tab and the material list tab across the top. And here you can see we have those items. And here's the unassigned pack. So here's our ice and water shields and our roofing. But we also have other packs. By default, it comes in with a couple of different ones. These packs, you can right click on them. You can choose to rename those packs. You can remove those packs, and you can even come up here to the top, like to this plus button, and you can add another pack. Like for example, if I wanted to add in a labor pack, for example, click OK. These packs can also be reordered, so I can drag and drop this up here. And I can put things in the order that I want them to. So in addition to that, I can also assign things to a pack. This can be done in a couple different ways. One, I can come over here and I can say, well, I want my this ice and water shield to be in my first material shipment. And I set it into that pack. Now, if I check over here in my first material shipment, there's my ice and water shield. And you can see the outputs and things that it's going to put onto my report. But in addition to just the items that you've drawn, you also have the flexibility now to be able to get things into your report that you haven't drawn. So for example, let's say with this roofing, maybe you're doing a roofing project and the homeowner, yeah, you have the set of plans, but he also has this shed out back that you don't have a set of plans for. And so you just know you need to throw a couple hundred extra square feet of roofing onto the job in order to have enough to do that little shed out back that he's wanting. So you can just type in 200 square feet, and that just gets added into your roofing. You could also put that on a separate line item if you wanted to. So here it is. I have my ice and water shield. I could come in here, and if I wanted to add additional materials that I hadn't drawn, just because I don't really need to calculate it up, I just want to draw it. So for example, I could come here to my flashing, and I could pick out my flashing for this job. And in this case, it's looking for lineal feet. You can see the indicators here of what kind of entries it's expecting, either inches or feet or square feet. So in this case, I just know that I want to throw on 110 lineal feet of flashing, and so it's going to do that for me. Since they're 10 feet long, I'm going to get 11 pieces, and those are going to make it to the report. I can reorder these things as well. So like if I want my ice and water shield to show up in front of my flashing, I can drag and drop them within the pack and get them into the order that I like them to be in. Again, concept of adding to a pack. If I right click on a pack name here and choose to add a usage to it, I can add another line item here that I can come into. So I could say I got labor, and this is going to be hours of roof tear off labor. So I pick that and say maybe I've got 3 for this, or 3 for this job. And I could add another usage, and maybe this is also labor, but it's 4 hours of shingle installation. And I figure I'm going to have 7 of those. So I could build out a labor, or I could build out, again, more materials or whatever else, organize them into the materials and the different things that I want. Like if I want my labor to show up first, I can drag it to the top. If I wanted my different set of materials to be there, all that's customizable. So then when I go and hit Control P, look at the report, those things are breaking out that way. I've got my labor pack, my first material shipment pack, and so on. And of course, those things, as always, you have the ability to export that out to Excel, print that off to a PDF, or just straight out to the printer, anything like that. So lots of flexibility, lots of capabilities that we have added in here. Finally, we'll note that you can see right now there aren't any. There's this adjustments column over here, and that's going to be reflective of any waste factors that you may have been applying in the database. So just to show you how that might work, if I come to the database, maybe I come to my labor application. Maybe actually I'll come to my products, my 30-year shingles. If I always want them to have a 10% waste, I can put 10% waste on my products, and then coming back here and looking at the list. Let's see here. Down here, we've got the 10% waste that's being applied to these shingles. And so then therefore my output's going to be that much greater. So the waste factors and some of these things, they've always been there. But what this material list tab is doing for you is giving you a level of transparency to be able to see what's going on with your output, what's going on with your waste factors, how things are organized in your list, how you can reorganize them and put them and position yourself better to get the output that you're expecting. And then looking to the future here as we kind of wrap this up. So the concept here is to be able to give you this material list now, and then hopefully then here in the upcoming weeks, we'll have another version out that will give you that capability of being able to call one item, and then from that is being driven either one or many more items that you just don't have to call. They just get called for you based on your preferences, your ratios, your rules of thumbs, things that you prefer to set up in their job. So I encourage you to hop on and get a hold of this latest version, version 5.0 of PROtrade. And we welcome any feedback that you'd like to give us, especially as it relates to that new material list tab of visions of how you would see it being more useful to you, what additional features you would like to see added onto it. That way we can make this much more effective tool for you guys who are out in the field and using this day after day. So appreciate your interest in this new version. Look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, get a hold of us either by calling our support line, using the chat service, emailing us at support@prebuiltml.com. and we'll look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much.